Back in the early 20th century, mountain biking evolved whenever riders began modifying their normal bicycles to accommodate off-road terrain. It wasn't until 1978 whenever the first mountain bike was produced and sold. Now there's two different types of mountain bikes that we're going to be focusing on today. One of them being the hardtail mountain bike, only has suspension in the front, and the other being the full suspension mountain bike that has suspension in the front and the rear of the bicycle. The full suspension mountain bike became a thing in 1992, and ever since, it's been one of the most popular types of mountain bikes in the world. You see, as mountain biking has evolved, developers have had to raise the cost of mountain bikes. A hardtail is a good reference point for this because a hardtail does not have as many components as a full suspension, meaning that the price will be lower, even if it's set on par with a full suspension, the same brand, and that has mostly the same parts. To give you a better example, on the right we have a Trek Roscoe 7, the exact same bike that I ride, which is just behind me. On the left we have a Trek Fuel X5. Now, these two bikes are basically the same, but as we can see, the Trek Fuel EX5 has rear suspension. In my opinion, this does not make a bit of difference, but if you're looking for something where you can smash right through rock gardens, pick that Fuel EX5 because it's going to be your best bet. But if you want something that you can set a good learning experience on and build your confidence up, pick that Roscoe 7 because you will be picking the correct lines through those rock gardens, and also you will have a good base to set that jumping experience on. Bike shops come in a big part of our lives as a mountain biker, but not everyone wants to pay a bike shop to do it whenever you can do it yourself. If you have a hardtail, you won't have to worry about that because on a full suspension, you have all those linkage components in the rear. Every so couple of years, you want to take that linkage out and grease the bearings and all that. But on a hardtail, you only have a couple bolts in the front and a couple bolts in the back. Super simple for a beginner to learn how to work on their bike. Let's be honest, full suspensions are much higher in cost than a hardtail. That's another reason why you should get a hardtail, because if you get a hardtail, you can save some extra cash and maybe get some riding gear or some upgrades for your bike, which will make your riding experience that much better. Now, a lot of people don't think about this whenever it comes to mountain biking, but let's all be honest, the hardtail is one of the most simple bikes out there. It's super simple, there's nothing in the way, it looks awesome. Let's be honest, the hardtail is probably the most beautiful mountain bike out there. There is some cons to this bike that I would like to mention, specifically the way that you have to land. On a full suspension, as you know, you have the rear shock and the fork. You can land both tires, hug the flat, and you'll be just fine as long as you have enough air pressure inside of your fork and your shock. But on a hardtail, you actually have to be a little bit easier because if you go too hard on that back wheel, you might have to get it trued depending on how stiff your spokes are or whatever. I like to personally land a little bit nose heavy. That's why I run a little bit more air pressure inside my shock, but that's just me. If you're wanting to get into mountain biking, a hardtail is a no-brainer for your first choice. I believe that this bike is a perfect choice for someone wanting to get more advanced into mountain biking or someone wanting to just start off mountain biking to learn those basic skills. Whenever it comes to full suspensions, you have all that rear suspension components, meaning that a lot more things can break whenever it comes to tough riding. But as we can see on the hardtail, we don't have any suspension components because as a hardtail rider, we always rely on that rear tire to cushion our ride. I mainly ride with a rear tire that is super squishy. Even if I was on a full suspension, I would do that. If you have a full suspension, well, this video is probably not for you, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a big like on this video. If this video gets 10,000 likes, I will head to Burn Park. Don't forget to drop all your questions down in the comments down below. We'll catch you guys in the next one.